Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode. Today, our guest is special. He is an airline captain, but we will not talk about his career, takeoffs, or landings. We are going to talk about an interesting hobby that he has been exercising for many years since an early age. Captain Khalid AlRiyami is living the dream as a current captain on the Dreamliner 787, and he has a huge passion for amateur radio, or what is called ham radio, and I'm sure he's going to explain all of this to us. Captain Khalid has dedicated a lot of his time to enhance his skills in this passion through participating in various activities and AR, which is amateur radio contexts and events. He's also a board member of the Royal Omani Amateur Radio Society. More information will be shared with all of us during this episode. Captain Khalid, welcome to this fresh episode on Flying Hub, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Hello, Captain Khalid. First of all, a pleasure to be here on the Flying Hub podcast, and thank you very much for the invitation. And I hope we will have a nice discussion today and share what we have together.
We will definitely have a good discussion, and I share with you a lot of, I would say, there are a lot of common interests between us. So that's fantastic. And I hope also that a lot of members, our listeners, viewers, share those common interests. Before we start our discussion, I would like to invite all members to follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel and the rest of the social media platforms, Flying Hub 104 at YouTube, X, and TikTok, and Instagram. Captain Khalid, what do you want to share with us first about Captain Khalid AlRiyami?
Okay, so I think you know a lot about me.
I do.
I started after graduating from high school. Actually, during my summer holiday of grade 11, I went to the UK, and I had a birthday gift from my dad to join a flying school and start doing training flights on Cessna 152 before I graduate from high school. Yeah, that early. So I was sure by then that I know my path for the future. And I did few flights up to the solo. And then I came back home, graduated from my high school, and then went back and continued my flying up to completing the PPL. But due to the bad weather at that time, we were canceling a lot of VFR flights. So I looked for an alternative option, and I decided to go to New Zealand and continue my flying there. So
Beautiful.
I graduated. Yeah, indeed. Beautiful scenery and very nice cross countries I had there. So I graduated from New Zealand, Nelson Aviation College, and then joined Oman Air as a second officer. And basically continued from there all the way up to where I am now as a wide-body captain on the Boeing 787. Yeah.
Well done. Thank you very much for that. A quick introduction. Before we really delve into the topic, in short, could you tell us about your story in amateur radio? When and how did it become a hobby?
Okay. So let's go into the history a bit of what I know how amateur radio started, and then I will talk about how it started with me personally. So as we know, late 19th century, Mr. Hertz proved that radio wave exists. And then an Italian inventor called Heinrich Marconi successfully did the first transmission through radio waves on Morse, which is CW. And that was the first wireless communication, because before that, every communication was written or wired, basically. And with this transmission, it attracted attention, a lot of enthusiasts, a lot of people around the world, and they started experimenting And at the time, of course, you have to build a transceiver and a receiver, and they used to be so huge. Like you used to have two big boxes, one is sending and one is receiving. So this started going on with many people trying to experiment, and then wireless communication using the airwaves became an official mean of communication in many industries, such as aviation, maritime, broadcasting, TVs, FM, and so on. Those group of people who started during Marconi time, they formed many communities around the world. And those people are now the amateur radio or radio amateurs. Okay. Of course, later on, the ITU started, which is the International Telecommunication Union. And the ITU recognized amateur radio as something official, basically.
Yeah.
And
Not just a hobby.
Not just a hobby. And then formed organizations which are legalizing amateur radio around the world. And they called it IARU. So if we think ITU as ICAO for those aviators, and IARU are basically the local regulators, and they divided the world into 3 regions: Region 1, Region 2, Region 3. Region 1 is Middle East, Asia, and Africa. Region 2 is the Americans, North and South America. And Region 3 is rest of Asia and the Pacific, Oceania, which is Australia, New Zealand, and so on. So obviously we are in Region 1, and there is an IARU, International Amateur Radio Union, for each region. So in Region 1, we have IARU Region 1. Basically, IARU is the official organization that regulates the frequencies for amateur radio and all the rules and regulation. Okay. And then in every country, there is basically a society, which is a member society of the RAIU in that region. So in Oman, we have the Royal Omani Amateur Radio Society, or RORS, which reports to the TRA for local regulations and to the IARU for the international regulations. Okay. Now, the hobby about myself, it grew up with me since my childhood. Once I was a little boy, I used to, what we call it those days, I like to play with the walkie-talkies. When they take me to a shop, normally kids buy something else. I would buy those pair of walkie-talkies and try to see how it works. My dad used to have a handheld transceiver, so when I am alone at home and he's not there, I go take it, play with it, start to listen. How does this work? I was just having the interest, the curiosity to know how these things work. And from there, this grew up with me until one day we were driving in the street and I saw the sign of the RORS, Royal Omani Amateur Radio Society. It was a camp near the beach in Adaiba. So I asked, what is that? And then I came to know that there is actually something officially hobby that where I should belong. So the legal age at the time was 18. I waited till I am 18 and I applied and I became a member. And since then I am enjoying the hobby.
Wow. Must have been a long journey since 18 until now.
Yes, it is.
You're still young, by the way. I know you're still young.
Yeah.
So which one did ignite the other, the amateur radio or flying?
Well, that's a tough question. Actually, they both grew up together, but I think I was listening when I was young. Before I became a member, I used to buy scanners, okay, and I used to listen to the air band. And at the same time, I had the aviation feeling growing up, because also when I used to travel as a kid, I always used to ask my family, I want to go to the cockpit. Okay. And then one of the things attracted me in the cockpit is when they talk on the radio. So it's something I like, linked with something I think I'm going to enjoy doing it in the future. So the hobby started as a hobby, basically, and aviation started as something I love, I dream to do, a dream. And now it eventually became my profession. Okay.
You are a professional and you are now a board member of the Royal Omani Amateur Radio Society. So you started with them when you were 18, and that proves that you have been a valuable asset to the society since then. Um, like everything else in life, we have ladders. So could you explain to us the categories of or the levels that you have in amateur radio sequence or grades?
Okay, so the licensing classes, we could call it.
Okay,
It varies from country to country, basically state related. However, we can summarize it. Once you join a local club or a society, okay, and you do the formalities, the application and the interview and so on, you get the membership and you are called SWL, which is a shortwave listener. So basically, you are not licensed yet to transmit, but you are a shortwave listener, so you can build and enhance your listening skills and listen to other people making a QSO. Basically, we have our own language, so QSO means a contact. So we use Q codes just like aviation. Okay.
okay.
Okay. So you listen to people, and you one of the requirements is to log a certain number of QSOs or contacts in order to be licensed. So that's the first phase is SWL. And then we have two category of license, which is Class B. Class B is a VHF UHF license, which limits you to using these bands only, which is normally localized bands or short distance communication using either simplex contacts from one to one or using local repeaters, which is basically a signal extender devices that we have dedicated for amateur radio. Okay. And then after VHF, UHF, if you want to upgrade, you can go to Class A license, which is a full privilege, and that includes all the bands, VHF, UHF, HF, and even satellite.
Okay.
Okay. So that's in general how it works. Some other countries, they call it differently, like general or extra, but the concept is the same.
So there are three levels. It's
There are
like
three
beginner,
levels.
intermediate, and expert.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So then, what about ham? Can we call anybody? Can anybody become a ham? And what does
Okay.
stands for?
Okay. So the word ham, there is many scenarios about it because it's a very long name. We came and we heard it since the beginning. But when we research, the first group of amateur radio in the US, there was three guys who opened their station, the first station in the US for amateur radio, and the three initials of their surname was H and A and M, so they
Okay.
call it ham station. Okay, and that name remained until today because it's referring to the first station, and it became popular among the amateur radio community. So amateur radio or radio amateurs are also, the hobby is called ham radio, and the radio amateurs are called ham operators.
Okay.
And we call ourselves a ham. So when I introduce myself to someone, I ask him, "Are you a ham?" Or he asks me, "Are you a ham?" Or "Is he a ham?" So we
Yeah.
know it that what he is referring to.
Okay. So sounds maybe better than amateur radio or AR
Exactly.
operator.
It's
Yeah. Okay.
yes, it's a shorter.
So, so since you have this since your childhood, are we expecting another ham at the house?
Okay. So far, I have attracted, not really attracted. I have basically they had the interest. Many of my colleagues, pilots, first officers, and captains. There is about 4 or 5 who joined our society. They showed the interest. They contacted me, and I assisted them or supported them, and all of them are licensed now. And what we have noticed, pilots joining amateur radio is a very smooth transition because
Mm,
they are good listeners. They have a good listening skills,
yeah.
which is part of flying. They are a good procedure followers, which amateur radio has because we have frequency limits and we have power limits. We have a lot of rules and regulations that we have to follow. And they have good geography, which is required for amateur radio to know where to turn your antenna when you are talking to someone. So all these pilots who joined the hobby, they are basically, it was piece of cake for them. It was so easy. Regarding the family, so far I am the only one, but I think the little ones are getting a bit hooked up
Interesting.
into it. But it's a challenge because the technology now is different. However, I think by time as they grow up, they will understand the beauty of it, and
Yeah.
hopefully one of them at least will join me here in the house.
Good. Good. That's
Yeah.
good. So, which one is closer to you now, Captain Khalid or the ham? Which one is
Well,
closer to your heart? That's another
flying
question.
pays flying pays me to afford being a ham. So I would say yeah, definitely flying is well, they are both close to my heart, and it's very tough to pick one. I enjoy both of them. Everything has its enjoyment, its experience. uh, each one is a break from the other. When I come back from a flight, sometimes going on the air talking to my friends on the radio is a stress relief for me. So
Hmm,
they
good.
complete each other. I enjoy it. It's a hobby, so that's what I do to on my free time to be basically relax and de-stress.
Okay, Captain. Since it's a hobby and it helps you networking with people around the globe, can we notice or witness any other benefits that amateur radio is providing to the community, or it's only just a hobby that you talk to people through air?
Yes, indeed. Well, amateur radio, in addition to its being, as you said, socializing, making friends who have mutual interest, it gives a lot of technical skills, such as electrical safety. It gives you information about the higher layers of the skies, because propagation, which is the range of the signal, is based on the ionosphere when the sky waves reflects and go to the other end. So that's another thing inside the hobby itself. It gives you information about geography, because I have worked many stations in a countries that I never heard before, in the Caribbean and the Pacific, little islands, and those are very valuable contacts for us when we work a station in a rear zone of the globe. Uh, Many radio amateurs are building their own kits, so we call it home brewing, kit building. They build their own transceivers, they build their own antennas, towers, a lot of things related to the amateur radio activities, amplifiers, and it's a proudness. They go on the air, and he said, "I'm using a home-brewed transceiver." That means he
Absolutely.
built his. That means he built himself that radio just by being a radio amateur. Now, radio amateurs are from the beauty of it are from different backgrounds. It could be from a truck driver to a state ruler or a president, and we have all of those. So it's a community mixing different backgrounds, different nationalities, different cultures. However, we all talk the same language, which makes it something very unique. We have one language, which is the amateur radio language. We use the same codes. We all use the standard phonetics, which we use in aviation as well. So for example, I am Alpha 41 Charlie Kilo. That's my
Yeah,
call sign. Many people knows me by my call sign more than my name. So when you tell
absolutely.
them Alpha 41 Charlie Kilo, they know me. They go, "Oh, Captain Khalid." Then they relate me to aviation as well. So they remember, because there are very few radio amateurs who are pilots.
Okay.
They are pilots, but not a lot. So we would love to see more. Especially for me, I would like to meet an aviator ham, so then we can have mutual interest and we can have our own community as well. So going back to your question, Captain Khalid, in addition to all what I have mentioned, amateur radio serves or plays a big role in natural disasters.
I would say
uh,
so. Yeah.
when when the communication of the internet and other means completely goes dead. Radio waves is a standalone and not depending on any internet or any networks. So radio amateurs plays a big role on supporting the other defense services in the country and the civil defense services in the country to provide communication when there is communication breakdown. And that happened in many cases in Oman and, of course, around the world, in earthquakes, in in volcanoes, in the storms that happened in Oman. Gono, I think it was 2006 or 2007,
Yes.
when one of the cities were completely out of communication. There was a ham there. He set up a station and he was relaying the messages between the families who are in that area with the families on the other side, and
Beautiful.
also passing the messages to the government
Entities.
entities and police, municipality, etc. And also in big events where communication is required, such as rallies, marathons. Lately, we participated in Al Moj Marathon and in Tawaf Oman, the cyclers when they came, the international event, and also some events, Oman Rally. Whenever they have event, we are part of the communication team.
Very good. That's beautiful.
This is, by the way, it's all like voluntarily basis.
Fantastic, fantastic. I would like to thank you for the information you gave us at the beginning about the history of amateur radio. That's fabulous, and thank you for highlighting all of these services that amateur radio is providing to the community, especially the humanitarian part where you have natural disasters, and then you guys are the link between everybody and everybody. So that's very good. Now, as you just said, the technology is improving. Innovation is on every doorstep, and with the accelerated applications and their availability to everyone, they are also affordable now. Do you think that amateur radio it might come to an end one day, like many other things?
Well, I hope not. I spend a lot of money on this hobby. Anyways, it's a worry, it's a concern for many old timers in the hobby. As you mentioned, the facts that technology with communication is going on, people are more tended towards social media and new technologies. However, we as amateur radio, we don't link these two things together. I also use social networking. I have accounts on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, everything. This doesn't stop me from practicing my hobby or enjoying my hobby. So they're completely two different things. Now, a radio amateur, he don't use this hobby to communicate with his friends locally or internationally the way he does it in the other social media channels. This is something with people we share the same interest and enthusiasm. Basically, we are in the same loop, and we want to talk about our hobby using our hobby. Okay, so going up on the air, choose a band based on the propagation. Today, the path is open to Australia, the path is open to North America or South America. I make a few contacts. By surprise, I will get someone coming back to me. Maybe it's the first time we meet each other, we become friends. One of my friends told me, who is a pilot with us, and he became a ham 2 or 3 years ago, is being a pilot and then a radio amateur makes the world very small.
Yeah.
Because we fly to many different areas, and then you talk. For example, if I have a flight to Frankfurt tomorrow, I go on HF today and I start calling CQ, and I work 3 or 4 stations who are in Frankfurt, and I'll tell him, okay, I'm visiting Frankfurt tomorrow, so we make a skid. We can go there, meet, have a coffee together, and the world become very small. And then we have an eyeball QSO, we call it in our language. So initially we had RF QSO, radio frequency contact, and the next day we had eye contact, which is eyeball QSO, or face-to-face get together. Now to answer your question, Captain Khalid, just to make it short, is amateur radio coming to an end? I don't think so. To give you the answer, it is a concern for the IARU, and it was discussed in annual get-togethers or annual conferences. There have been introduced youth program, because most countries has an age limit, minimum age limit to be licensed. In Oman, for example, it's 18, as I mentioned earlier. Many countries lowered it to 15. Some countries lowered it to no limits to attract youngsters. We have workstations 6 years old, 9 years old. In those countries, of course, under the supervision of their parents or a licensed member. We are still, the number is increasing. Being a board member as well as one of the training team in our society, we do courses at least every 3 months where we have 30 to 50 applicants
It's good.
in Muscat, and now we started doing in Salalah to make it easier for them not to travel all the way here. 3 days ago, I was in Salalah. I gave a course for 50 new joiners in the south of Oman. That is talking about locally. Globally, the numbers are continuing to increase. So I think in every generation, there will be hams who understand and who have a feeling for this hobby.
That's very good. And consider me as one of your trainee hams very soon.
Sure, and it's a very nice retirement hobby as well. Many of my friends who old timers who retired, it's a really nice retirement hobby because you wake up in the morning, make your cup of coffee, go to your shack room, which is where I am sitting now, your radio room, open the radio, chat with your friends. You could be talking to Australia and this in a very simple way without using any technology or 5G or Wi-Fi. It's
So
it's something
I'm
nice.
sure. I'm sure it's fun. I'm sure it's fun. Uh, the you have participated in national and international events and context.
Yes.
Could you share with us some of the events that you have
Okay.
participated in?
So amateur radio, apart from making a contact on regular basis, we have a lot of events such as contest. Contest means it's a competition,
Yeah.
okay, or a race on the air, and we have activities such as fox hunting. Fox hunting is basically there is fox hunting and there is automatic radio frequency direction finding (ARDF). Fox hunt is basically there is a signal being transmitted and there is a group people. They build their own antenna and they have a radio and they try to locate where is the signal coming from by cutting the signal. Okay, so we do this every year for our members to give them this basically this skill of finding a signal direction. Okay, so going back to my participation, I participate in every contest that I can. There is a contest almost every weekend. It varies from local or mid-level contest to a worldwide international contest. The biggest one is CQ Worldwide and the CQWPX. CQ Worldwide is you work as many countries as you can on the world, and CQWPX is you work as many prefix you can in the world. So each country has multiple prefixes. In Oman, we only have Alpha 4, but some countries, they have a lot of prefixes. So you work as many prefix as you can, and that bases your score. And that was in March. The result was out a couple of days ago. Today, you sent me one of the certificates. That was CQWPX 2024. In October, we'll have a big one, so I'm getting prepared. I might participate with our contest team from the club station. In addition to the contest, we have ham radio events that's happening worldwide to gathering, let's say like a ham radio show. The biggest one in Ohio, it's called Dayton Ham Feast or Dayton Ham Vention. And then the next biggest one is in Germany, in a city called Friedrichshafen, where I'm going on June. And I'm very excited. I go there for the past 3 or 4 years, apart from the pandemic. I have been going every year, where people from, because it's closer to me, I would love to go to Ohio, but it's a long journey with my short leave. And in Ham Radio Germany, people from all around the world, they gather up there. My friend called it the alien gathering because we all go and we talk our own language. And once I took my friend with me, he didn't understand the word we are saying. So all the big manufacturers of radios, ICOM, Yazoo, Kinwood, antenna manufacturers, you name it, anything related to amateur radio, they display there. Some of them, they bring new surprises to us, basically
New products.
release the new products that is gonna be next on the line, and it's really enjoyable. It's just a weekend event, which is a European weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but we enjoy it a lot. The third one is in Tokyo in Japan. It's also in my list to visit.
Okay, so the last one or the next one is going to be in Japan, and it's in your to-do list.
In my to-do list, yes.
When is it?
It's in the summer sometime. I'm not sure, but I'll have to look it up. I have to find the right time. I would love to visit Japan and combine it with the same time that the event is going. Is gonna be something really great.
It's worth a visit.
Yes, for sure.
Captain Khalid, thank you for all of this information. A lot of this information is very new to me. I have been educated, maybe not enough, but I say I have a lot of information in the past, 30 minutes. I would like to thank you for being with us today, and thank you for your time.
You are welcome. First of all, there is a lot to say and share about this great hobby. We cannot say it all in a quick podcast for sure. I hope I gave a good or summarized the important things according to the discussion we were having. If you have some more questions or any of the Flying Hub family would like to have any further questions, they are welcome to contact. And of course, a lot of information is available online, a lot of videos, a lot of things that can be accessed. And I would also like to take the opportunity for thanking you personally, Captain Khalid, for taking this effort on creating the Flying Hub and creating this great family. And I apologize for my, not being responsive on the group and on the account and on the page. But I will do my best to be to give and share and enjoy my time with the Flying Hub family. And once again, thank you very much for all your efforts. You're a great person. I learned from you a lot since I joined aviation.
We are learning from each other. Thank you. We are learning from each other.
Thank you very much.
I think this will be a good opportunity. Thank you for bringing that up, and I'm sure that we have some hams hidden in the Flying Hub, and it could be the first one that we have a discussion with, and they could come alive with us, and we can have a live session if you want, all of us to discuss about this industry, I would say, because since it's started until now, it definitely proved that it is an industry, and it will continue to do so since the number of hams are increasing and not reducing. Thank you again, Captain Khalid, for your time, and we'll see you sometime either on the ground or in the air.
Thank you very much, Captain Khalid. My pleasure.